which meant somehow he had the strength to rip them to shreds. I was already thinking it was my phone to Finn, who hissed through his teeth, "Holy fuck," he muttered, passing me his empty cup, squirming at the screen. Crazy asshole. Actually butchered them? He didn't butcher them. I managed to get out, despite knowing I was in denial. I couldn't defend Steph with the evidence, which was right there in black and white, having not just killed them, but dismembered them in a way no human, even a general serial killer, could. This was more animalistic. The more I was thinking about it, the sticker was getting... It wasn't until my mouth was filling with barf and it was on my hands and knees choking up my guts that the gravity and the situation slammed onto me. If Steph Daniel had killed his mom and dad out of nowhere, was that fate going to happen to me too? It must have been the curse. There was no other explanation. I didn't dig into the rest of the investigation because I was too terrified to find out something more that I didn't want to. Murder motived by emotion, and motive is awful, yes. But can it be understood? It's been studied since records began why we kill, because when it comes to a separate force taking control of your will and forcing you to kill, that's when things are no real answer, only questions. Our town has been plagued with an invisible force that taken away our children. Could it be that we enraged it by being born? Had we somehow pissed off this all-seeing God? It was only several days later when Mom told me Steph had been taken to juvie determined center and didn't even get to see a court case. He admitted to it automatically. "Yes, I killed my mom and dad," were his words when he was forced out his house and his arms bound behind him, a pair of Ray-Bans hiding his eyes from the world. His words were so cruel, so unforgiving, and yet spoken with an emotionless drone. He didn't care? Watching him being swarmed by the town news crew from my window, Steph almost resembled a celebrity. The way he was shoved through flashing lights and microphones. Steph Daniel hated attention. Usually, if he was picked to speak in class, his cheeks were bright red and he'd stumble on his way through the passage, trying not to cry. The boy was not my neighbor. This vision of him held his head high, his movements swift and robotically as he calmly jumped into the back of the awaiting SUV. Despite seeing all this, despite seeing Steph steamily uncaringly in front of the cameras, I knew he would never do something like that. I know murderers turn out to be the most unexpected people. Friends and family, those who you grow up with and trust. But there was something about Daniel's case that I couldn't get out of my mind. Mom told me to forget about it when I started asking her questions about this so-called curse and how exactly was I born. Over dinner and asked a few more questions before she dropped a fork onto her plate, startling my twin sitting across from me. Electricals are not allowed at the table, but Freddie was the more favorited child, so the rules didn't apply to him. It stung a little, but I couldn't blame Mom for her being obsessed with her only son. Apparently, she had been told she had twin daughters, and it came out Freddie. So he was a surprise to her.